evening, everybody, and welcome back to another round of the Grand Prestige League LMP Masters, our second ever community series here. And this time we are on round number 5 of the championship. We are here at the world famous Watkins Glen circuit. A circuit that has been around since around the 40s, but what we currently know as Watkins Glen has been around since 1956. The permanent location opened up just in Watkins Glen, New York, which is, funny enough, an actual city name, which is pretty interesting to me. This track started to take the form that we know nowadays around 1971, and then it's had a few incremental changes here and there. The inner loop chicane, which is a very interesting chicane. It's one that you could either flat out or just lose it all depending on the car. That one has been around since 1992, and that's probably the most recent addition to the track here at Watkins Glen. So once again, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus. I'll be your host and commentator for today's race here. It is 60 minutes, round 5 out of 7 here, so we'll just have to see how it all plays out. I mean, it's a pretty heavy championship lead right now for Nuco. He has won pretty much every single race with the exception of Le Mans. So once again, he's been pretty much on a tear through most of the season, but you can't win them all, sadly. So we'll just have to see how the rest of this championship does play out. Still a good amount of ways to go here, so even though we're down to about 3 rounds, we're definitely not done here yet. Just so we are all aware, we have about a few more rounds. So we got this round here, which is our penultimate round, and then we go to Fuji and then Suzuka. So those are our last two. Our last 2 rounds, and actually next round in Fuji is the final round where we actually have the car allocation system. So this round and the next round are the last rounds with this car allocation system, and then the season finale is a one-make race. So everybody will run the 2012 Toyota. So pretty much that's where we're at right now in terms of the championship. Taking a look at the standings here after the last round at Le Mans, Nuco still leads the championship with 93 points ahead of Lujan, who missed last round due to being under the weather. I am happy to say that he is back in action in the Audi R18, so it's good to have him back here racing once again. And then we go to the next part of the championship. Ghosted is in P3, followed by Pixel, May JP, Alex, BP, Comer, who did win the race previously in Le Mans. And then we have Kemmerer, King, Rogue, Flaring Aces, Alvarks, and Louch rounding out the top 14 spots on the podium. And then we have Dakadona, Killswitch, and Tallman. Tallman had an unfortunate disconnect at Le Mans, so he is at the bottom of the standings, but he has a good chance to get some points here today. So it's looking pretty cloudy here at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is a very high-speed track. And here's a fun fact about this track, just taking it into account with other simulators. Some drivers in iRacing, granted different simulators, so different properties and a bunch of other stuff that's very different between the two, but during the Nürburgring 24-hour, there was a lot of drivers who actually used the Watkins Glen setup to tackle the Nordschleife. So, alright. Well, in that case, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about some other things. Unfortunately, B23 is still not here this round. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Hopefully he'll be back for the final 2 rounds of the season, which means I am the head steward this go around. So if I see any major cons lap, then it is a red flagged session, but hopefully we won't get to that, although there is a lot of room for track limit violations here at this circuit, so we'll just have to see how it goes. Once again, it is 15 minutes of qualifying, 60 minutes of racing action here at Watkins Glen. And here's the interesting thing too, is unlike Le Mans, you can actually get in some pretty good laps here in the 15 minutes because it's not a super long track. is only about 3.45 miles compared to about the 7, or actually about 13 miles roughly, I think, about the Le Mans is. Actually, no, that's, yeah, about 7 miles roughly, so 5.5 or 5.5 kilometers, so let's just go ahead and see how this works. So apparently I've been told to check something else as well, so I will go ahead and check that really quickly. Alright, so everybody is getting ready. We do have one other person joining in very late. Hetty, a brand new driver, or who I believe is a brand new driver. I haven't heard anything about a new participant joining in for this race, but we will see. And hey, Illusion, how you doing? Good to see you in YouTube chat as well. Oh, so this is not a active driver, so this is just someone just joining in. But hey, maybe Hetty can join the Discord and we'll see him for either the GPL 250 or the SF or Super Formula season that starts around November, December. But anyways, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and kickstart qualifying here. So here we go. Qualifying is going to be underway with these drivers. We have 9 cars on the track here today. And so we're just going to see who is going to do what. So we do have some new names on the grid. ASJ, a new name here on the grid. But pretty much everybody else is an existing name. We have... Oh, never mind. He left the room, so that might have not been a driver. So we have 8 cars on the grid here today. So we have May JP, fan favorite here. And then we have Chemister, Rogue, Yuki, Championship leader Nuko, the returning Illusion. And then your local Tallman and Death Ghosted are in the pits at the moment. But, I mean, they have a good amount of time to actually go ahead and get this started because unlike Le Mans, you don't have a very long outlap. Same with Spa, you don't really have a long outlap here. So we're going to go ahead and just, while the drivers are going on their outlaps, let's go ahead and talk about the, oh, MAJP's into the wall. Okay, we are having a session restart, so, bit of a delay here, but, oh, and we have Chemister actually with powertrain damage, so, unfortunately there. I think it's a... So, what we're hearing about is that there is a update bug that had happened. So, I think the session is in the process of being reset, so we're going to go ahead and step out for a moment. So, there is a recent update of Gran Turismo that has came out. It added 5 new cars. It added a Mazda... or a Mazda, like another MX-5 Roadster, I think it's the NR, I think it's called. And then they added the Toyota RAV4 Adventure, the Toyota FJ, the Hyundai Elantra N, and also the Opel eSports car. I think it's called the ESR or something like that. But alongside those, it also brought in a few bugs apparently. So this will take a moment. We're just going to have to reset the lobby. And then we're going to go ahead and jump back into it and get back underway with qualifying. We do apologize for that, folks. Sometimes updates do tend to break things. As somebody who, I went through game development college, wasn't super great at it, but I have learned that sometimes if you make changes, there's a good chance that you're going to break a lot of things. So a bit of a delay, but we should be back underway very, very shortly. It's just going to take a moment for this lobby to get reset and reactivated. So we'll see how this one plays out. I think Watkins Glen is a fantastic track. The last time we used it was actually during the last community series when we were doing the GT, the GT 500s. And actually, I was unfortunately not really a part of that race because I did a silly thing and actually forgot to update my game ahead of time. So I guess Watkins Glen is just one of those tracks that just tends to give everybody issues. So, alright, you know what? I mean, it happens, right? You know, you go through tech issues. I mean, every broadcast at every level is going to run into tech issues at some point. You can throw in thousands of dollars into a broadcast and to make sure everything is okay. Like, you could have a NFL level budget, you could have a Premier League level budget, you could put as much budget as you want. It won't save you from the tech issues. You're just going to have those. That's just how technology works. Things happen, but we do our best to take them on the chin and just roll on, which is exactly what we've done here at the Grand Prestige League. So, just going to go ahead and talk a little bit while we go ahead and get everybody back. While we get everybody back into the session before we get back to qualifying again, I do want to chat with chat for a while. How do you guys feel about the Spec 3 update coming in December, right around the time when the new Super Formula season is supposed to start? So, how do you guys feel about that? Honestly, I'm really excited to see some new tracks. I mean, granted, it's been... By the time that update is coming out, it will be about a year and a half since we've actually gotten a new track, and even longer since we got a track that people are actually going to race with that in competitive settings. So, with the Canadian and Abu Dhabi Grand Prix entering into Gran Turismo 7, the Gilles Villeneuve circuit and the Yas Marina circuit, which I'm still trying to learn the pronunciation of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit, so... Interesting tracks, I will say. You're probably going to get a amount of variety out of Yas Marina, but I think both tracks will be staples of competitive Gran Turismo for at least the foreseeable future. Especially in like the Super Formula spaces, right? Because I think in the Super Formula spaces you will see that Yas Marina and probably both Yas Marina and the Gilles Villeneuve circuit are probably both going to be staples. Especially in Super Formula, probably in GT as well. I'll be really interesting to see how those tracks play. And Yas Marina actually does have a good amount of variance too, so... Although granted, it's probably only going to be the full layout used for competitive. But yeah, it can be a fun track. Personally, there's some other tracks I would have preferred over it, but you know what? As Gran Turismo fans and Gran Turismo players, we'll take what we can get. We're just glad we're getting new tracks in general, tracks that can actually be used in a competitive setting. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. What are you guys' thoughts? Will Super Formula League change for Spec 3? I think it's still gonna be... I think it still will be, It'll still be Super Formula, probably. I'm sure there's going to be some changes made, but once again, there's a lot of things that are still in the works. Spec 3, I mean, I'm just saying the information that I know. I'd be pretty surprised to see that Spec 3 will not change anything for GPL. I know it's not going to change the GPL 250. That one's still going on as planned because that starts right after the the Community Series ends. So I think the following, or like 2 weeks after we do the final race in Suzuka, I think the GPL 250 is around. So that'll be a fun race. I've been told it's around Monza. So Alton Park next. That is a track I honestly. Granted, I'm an American, so I forget that there's a lot of, like, I know America has a ton of tracks, but I also forget that the UK also has a metric ton of tracks. You got like Snetterton, Thruxton, Alton Park. I think there's a circuit called the Croft Circuit, Donington Park, Silverstone. They have a lot of tracks over in the UK, so I mean, honestly, I'm actually really surprised that we got the Canadian Grand Prix circuit. That's probably the most surprising of the bunch. I mean, Yas Marina, Yas Marina is a very famous circuit. I mean, it's probably most infamous for Abu Dhabi 2021. Probably the most debated thing in probably almost any sport. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that track, but I'm more surprised about the Canadian Grand Prix. I mean, I was saying for the longest time that the Canadian Grand Prix should be a thing in GT, but I feel like there's a lot of other tracks that could have really jumped in that place. So if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for popping on in. We did have a bit of a tech issue to kick things off, so we're just waiting for some drivers, so we're just kind of waffling on about the proposed Spec 3 update coming in December for Gran Turismo, which adds 2 new tracks, 8 new cars, and a lot of other really cool features, including unlimited invitations. There's also the data logger, which I think is going to work really good, especially for... It's going to make the Stewards' Day a lot easier, so... It'll at least make their day a ton easier, but... I mean, there's some other... And we're also just kind of talking about the tracks. I do like the fact that there's... It is interesting that they're adding another Formula 1 type car. I think they are actually calling it the Formula Gran Turismo, which is a nice throwback. Granted, I did play Gran Turismo 3, but that was well after Gran Turismo 3 actually came out. I bought it at a like classic arcade store, and I've only played it like twice. So, but yeah, it's a nice throwback. Good to get those kind of late 90s, early 2000s model F1 car. You know what I would like to see? Although granted, I could see a sub-series running the Formula Gran Turismo. But, I mean, they've done stuff with so many current Formula 1 drivers that I'm surprised we haven't gotten like a Gran Turismo spec version of the current F1 car. Although granted, Liberty Media probably kind of blocked that. But anyways, we have waffled on enough. It is always fun having discussions with you guys in the chat, but we're gonna go and get into qualifying here. And as we begin qualifying, I do want to say a massive thank you to our partner W.GG. They are our drink sponsor for the foreseeable future. So if you want a healthier energy drink that doesn't give you the crash and no artificial flavored colors, then go ahead and go to W.GG, use promo code GPL at checkout. You'll get a nice discount and you can help support the league. So, good motivation there. And we have some really cool things in the works. And we hope you guys will join us every single step of the way. But we are currently at 102 subscribers, so once again, thank you guys so much. I know we hit that milestone previously. I think it was 2 rounds ago, I think we hit that milestone, so it's always good to see. But regardless of that, we still have a good amount of racing left to go here, so we're gonna go ahead and just go on board. We do have one driver that is joining in joining post qualifying, so he'll start from the back of the grid, but we do have 18 drivers going ahead and taking it to the track as we go ahead and just keep an eye on everything and just see how everybody is doing their outlap. So pretty short outlap compared to what we are used to, at least based off of Le Mans, as we have Nuko going ahead and starting his first lap here. Now Watkins Glen is such a interesting track. It could be kind of considered an American Monza, because I mean you are going, you're pretty much flat out through a good portion of this track. Even in the Super Formula cars, with the right setup, you can full throttle this chicane that Nuko is going through at the moment. So, and ASJ is here now. He did that's a big slide for Nuko. Championship leader having a bit of a slide there. Let's go check that out again. So he is making his way through, and there's just a bit too much throttle there. Very stylish trick, but it really cost him some time there, so he'll have to give it another go. His main rival is directly behind him though. So right now, Nuko's in a really strong spot in terms of this championship. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. I mean, once again, Lucian's got a half-second penalty, so the 2 front runners in this championship, having a bit of a tough time, but there's a big snap there from Lucian. You can kind of see that these drivers are starting to run these kind of low downforce subs for these tracks, but sometimes, I mean, with how fast this track can be, as Rogue actually tops the timetable for now. Granted, the two front runners had mistakes, but that is a exceptional time to go to kick things off for Rogue. A 1:28.713 to go and to start things off, but which I don't think he'll remain in pole position, but that's still a really good start. So I don't think he'll get pole. I still think pole is likely going to go to either Nuko or Illusion, but especially at the rally raid moment, and we see Rogue fire off into the pits. But I mean, honestly, that's still, I still want to give full credit to Rogue, because I mean, he's been improving every single round in this season, so I think he's been doing a fantastic job. And honestly, I'm pretty excited because there's a lot of rumors of him potentially joining the Super Formula Grid come towards the end of the year. So he'll probably join on the Extra Rapide squad as Yuki. It seems like a lot of drivers are just kind of struggling at the moment to kind of get to grips with this car and try to go ahead and just try to navigate through. So remember, we have only one more round before we go to the one make race. So we go to Fuji for the last race while the car allocation is a thing, and then we go to Suzuka afterwards. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, but once again, I mean, there's definitely some drivers looking for some strong comebacks here. I mean, Lucian is going to want a comeback. He's up in the second right now, about 1.3 or 1.1 seconds away from pole position time here. He's had about a week to recover from his illness, and I know sometimes illnesses take a while to recover from, but it is good to see Lucian back out on circuit. So yeah, he'll definitely want a strong result back. So we'll see how this one does tend to play out. We're about 5 minutes into quali already, so once again, I mean, these drivers have been able to put in some pretty solid laps here. Rogue's still in P3 at the moment, so this is a really good starting position from the Dutchman if he can go ahead and keep it. We'll see. He's about to. Oh, it's a purple sector 1. So Rogue, I mean, honestly, I would have told you that Lucian and Nuko were going to be the main ones fighting for that pole position, but Rogue has been getting really good. So Rogue, one of the drivers from the Exodus Motorsports umbrella, is in a pretty good position right now. Lucian does top the timing tables now, a 1:27.082. So the benchmark is set. He is still about 4/10 quicker though, so I mean, he'll be within a second of Nuko. But even then, I mean, Rogue on that second row is going to be I think this is going to be a best goal for someone, but he couldn't keep it. He has a bit of a spin there. Let's check on with May JP, fan favorite. He is actually up almost half a second on his time as well as he goes ahead and gets into sector 3. So here's the thing with Watkins Glen, is that Watkins Glen, there's a ton of runoff here, but a ton of opportunities to get a track limits violation here. So we'll see how we can manage, but it's going to be, I mean, a lot of drivers have already been struggling here, so if some of these drivers can manage better than some of our established top drivers, then he can do some pretty good work, as JP is up almost a full second. He'll improve his time but not his position though, as we have about 8 minutes left of qualifying. A lot of drivers are improving. The rubber is being put down now, so we will see as Chemistry is going to continue around and around, trying to navigate through this nearly 3.5 mile long circuit, 5.5 kilometers around. So once again, a very high speed track. It is very easy to carry too much speed into any of these corners, honestly. I mean, if we're going to see a lot of violations, it's probably going to be through the inner loop of, which is that chicane, turns 5 through 8, right at the end of sector 1, right before you get into the boot. As Kemmerer is going to go ahead and continue around in his Audi. He's currently 0.2 of a second up. That won't improve his position, but that will improve his time. So everything counts here. So he's going to go ahead. He goes very wide on the exit of turn 15. He's going to come across line. He'll improve by 0.3 of a second. He won't improve his position though, but still it is an improvement nevertheless. Tall man here looking to set his first lap time of the session. His first representative lap time. It's going to come across the line. It is not an improvement on his time or position. We'll see about Death Ghosted. Death Ghosted is the only driver right now who does not have a lap time. And here's the thing to remember as well. We will have 9 drivers in the race. ASJ was unable to go ahead and get into qualifying, unfortunately, due to some hardware issues. So he'll be back in the race as we see the My Team Esports driver of Death Ghosted going around. Oh, we got a few more corners left to navigate, but it can be easy just to get a bit too much on the exit. I think a little bit of grass there for Ghosted. He's using all of the curbing. Gonna come across the line. He'll jump up into 7th, about 2.8 seconds back off of pole time. Still quite a few other drivers and going around the circuit. We do have a pretty interesting mix of names here up in this top 4. So there's 3 Exodus Motorsport drivers, and Rogue is into the wall. He's got engine namers too, so that's a bit of a rough one, but he'll be able to reset the pits and give it another go. But we have 3 Exodus Motorsports drivers in the top 4. So Nuko being the only outlier here. And now here's the thing. Lucian and Yuki were part of the Exo Motorsports Aston Martin team in GPL WEC, our top category. But Rogue hasn't been in Super Formula yet, as far as I'm aware. So if anything, he'll likely end up at the Repeat A squad, or he may be loaned out to another squad. We'll have to see. Rogue is setting some decent lap times, but he's just got to keep that car under control if he wants to go ahead and continue that pace in that number 77 Audi. But I mean, there's a lot of rumors on who's going to end up where. Tall man, no rumors have really been speculated yet about the British driver, but I mean, once again, we don't know everything that's going on behind the doors. Death Ghosted, nothing really heard about him yet either. We do know that Racing Force is joining GPL next season with BMW, so that'll be a good partnership and a few open seats available as well. And there's been a lot of rumored teams joining in, so MayJP is another driver that has been talked about quite a bit here. He's got ties to High Caliber Racing. He may join one of their squads, but which squad, we'll have to find out. Will he join the SWT squad, or will he join the WEC squad? I mean, there's a lot of different avenues that this young man can go to. So there's even talks of him even starting up his own team, his own entry for GPL. So once again, we'll just have to see. I'm sure everybody will benefit from his talented livery designs, to which, just a little bit of backstory here. MayJP has actually been asking probably other drivers as well, but he did ask me for opinions on liveries. So he's been asking me for a few opinions on different liveries that he could run for various races. He showed me his Super Formula prototypes and his LMP1 prototype. So I've seen a lot of liveries from this driver, and I think his liveries, if all else, he could join the league as a livery designer, but I think he's got good enough talent. I can see him as a pretty strong force here, and I could actually see him probably as a solid midfield driver in WEC, to be honest. I would say he's probably either very high SWT or mid WEC in terms of just the pace I'm seeing from him here. I mean, just considering that he is keeping up with Yuki, which is a WEC driver, alongside Lucian and Exo. But I think MayJP does have potential. Actually, there's a lot of drivers that do have to have some good potential here. I mean, Rogue has also been very promising as well. So Rogue has also been very promising. There's also been rumors of another sim racing esports team joining the fray. Nine Pegasus Pantera has recently been in talks, anyway, about joining GPL for the next season. So once again, we'll bring you more updates on that when we can, as Rogue now has a half-second time penalty for his troubles. But I mean, right now it is really close between the two championship rivals here, so we'll see who can go ahead and get that pole position. Right now, it is looking like Nuko is going to take another pole here, but getting that one lap is one thing, but we have 60 minutes of consistent laps that are going to be put in, so you really got to be consistent, because consistency is what's going to win you the championship. I mean, I think mathematically, if Lusion wins this race, and I think if Nuka wins this race, and I think maybe next race, then I think mathematically, even if he just doesn't compete in Suzuka, I think he could still have that championship. But once again, Lusion is on a purple sector. This will probably be his last lap attempt, because we are under a minute left to go here, as the Exodus Motorsports driver, the runner-up in season 6, and the winner of the Super Formula 500. He is currently a runner-up in this championship too, so he wants to try to get one up on his eternal rival of Nuko. He is improving his time, but it's not. He had a purple sector in Sector 1, but not exactly in Sector 2. So once again, Lusion trying to go ahead and make things work here, but this is going to be a tough one. He's got 10 seconds left, so this will be his final lap as he makes his way through turn 12 and turn 13, making this run up to 14. And now he's got one more corner left to go. He could make or break his lap time on this corner. You can hear the tires squealing as he's coming across the line. It will be an improvement of time, but not a position. He is a 10th away from Nuko. Nuko will not be improving on this lap. And Rogue will be in P3 for now, but can Yuki go ahead and jump him? Yuki has to improve by about half a second to go ahead and get up into P3 to get into the top 3. But Rogue has had a fantastic qualifying here today, so kudos to the Dutch driver. He's making a really strong impression for if he wants to go ahead and get a seat with one of the Exodus Motorsports drivers. Tall man sets a time. He'll remain in P8. So we'll see about Yuki. Yuki's not improving though. What about May JP? May JP is done. He'll be in P5 at best. Kemazur, are you improving at all? We'll see here. As the top 4 are done, actually top 5 are done. So Kemazur is improving, but it's not enough to usurp May JP. Unless he can nail turn 15 here. Or he's going to give it the old college try. He's going to send it across the line. It won't be an improvement at all. So the last driver who will be left will be Death Ghosted. But we'll see if Death Ghosted is on an improvement. He is not on an improvement. So that is our qualifying grid pretty much locked in for this race. We'll go ahead and talk about it in detail. But we'll see once again. Here's the thing though too we got to remember is that qualifying is one thing. The full 60-minute race is another beast, but your pole sitter is Nuko. We're going to go and take a look at the times real quick. Nuko does take pole position by about a 10th, followed by Illusion Rogue, which is a very surprising name to see in that top 3, but a pleasant surprise at that, so it's an all Audi top 3. Followed by Yuki, May JP, Kemazur, Death Ghosted, and your local tall man, with ASJ jumping into the next. He'll be jumping into the race. He'll miss qualifying. And is that a Genesis Magma Racing livery I spot? We're going to go ahead and take a step back real quick as this lobby stuff gets set up, and we'll be back momentarily. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go ahead and get underway here with round number 5 very shortly. The drivers are all readied up. We have our grid order set. It'll be Nuko leading us to green. It looks cloudy, but fortunately or unfortunately, depending on what type of weather you prefer, there is going to be no rain on this track because Watkins Glen is one of the tracks that it can get very cloudy, but can never actually rain. So you may see rain in Fuji or Suzuka because both of those tracks have rain available, but Watkins Glen does not. Actually, I think none of the races in North America could get rain, I think. I'd have to double check that, but maybe Canada, maybe the Gilles Villeneuve circuit will have some rain available to it. We'll see. Abu Dhabi's definitely not going to have rain because it never really rains over in the Middle East, or not often, but no rain here at Watkins Glen. Maybe Spec 3 will add some more rain tracks, but that wasn't specified. But the one thing that we do know without any shadow of a doubt, it's going to be race time here for 60 minutes of the Watkins of Glens. We're here at the Glen for 60 minutes. Championship leader Nuko is going to take us to green. We have 9 drivers on the field today. It is going to be Nuko to Lucian to Rogue to Yuki to MayJP to Chemisher to Death Ghosted to your local tall man, and then ASJ rounding out the field. So we're going to see how this race transpires. And we're underway! Nuko is leading us down into turn number 1. And it's going to be, it's a very wide turn 1, so all these drivers should make it on through. As ASJ gets a really good move around the tall man, around the outside. And we have a very alive race here to kick things off. No damage into turn 1, so red flags will not be necessary as we continue on here in this race, here in the heart of New York. As we're seeing Nuko getting a little bit into the grass there, as Lucian tries to chase him down. But, I mean, look at this! Few cars going wide as Yuki is trying to go ahead and defend from MayJP, trying to catch up to Rogue here, but Rogue is in a pretty good spot defensively. Oh, a bit of a bottleneck just behind MayJP, and Death Ghost is going side by side. Death Ghost is trying to fire it up the inside. And a bit of a punt. A bit of a punt there as Death Ghosted goes ahead. He knows he's at fault there, so he will let MayJP back on through, but we'll take a look at that again via the replay. So here we go now. They are making their way through the boot. And we'll see, it looks like it's just on turn 11. Oh yeah, Death Ghosted got a bit too much into the inside and put MayJP into the wall. MayJP does have damage though, which, yep, there it goes, it just got fixed. So, it is light damage here at the Grand Prestige League, at least for the series, so the damage will repair itself after about 30 seconds, but you'll still definitely feel the effects from it here. So the greatest of race starts here, but now we're going to go ahead. Nuko's having a fantastic race start, but I'm going to jump on board with this battle because Yuki is still trying to go ahead and put on pressure, but can we just talk about ASJ in that Calsonic AMG Porsche? He is doing fantastic here. Oh, and that's Rogue! Rogue has just gone deep. Oh, we got to get a replay on what happened to Rogue here. So here's Rogue now. Going, oh, took a bit too much curve there into the inner loop, and that is him into the wall. it is a very tough chicane. Some car, I think you can flat it out in the super formulas, but in these cars it's a bit of a hit or miss. But some drivers having a bit of a rough start here, but Yuki is back up into the podium spots now. But as this field is pretty far spread out right now, but we will stay on board with some battles. Gamasher is actually having a pretty solid race here, so we'll ride aboard with the Audi as we begin lap number 2. We are on 57 minutes, only about 3 minutes into the race here so far, so still a good amount of racing left to go, as Nuko is about to, or he did set the fastest lap of the race so far. I mean, Nuko's just got these cars figured out. He's got these LMP cars figured out. Currently about 3, almost 4 seconds ahead of Illusion at this stage. Apologies about that abrupt cut, folks. Commentating when you have commentating when mucus is kind of running down the back though isn't exactly ideal, and so I do apologize for that. We are back to your regularly scheduled programming here, as we see this field is really spread out now. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, Death Ghosted, he's had a bit of a rough start to the week. I mean, he started in P7 and he got back to P7, but he did have to get past some other drivers to make that happen. He's chasing down your local tall man here, trying to go ahead and put pressure onto the Toyota. He's going to think about the inside. Not going up real estate there, as Death Ghosted's going to go ahead and try to shake for any kind of move. It's good defense there from the local tall man as they make their way through, and oh, the switchback is going to play into the favor of Death Ghosted, and the Dutch driver is going to jump back into P6, but local Tom is going to try to get up the inside of turn 1. He's going to be later on the brakes, no, he's not going to hold on to that position. Death Ghosted is going to take that position back. MayJP is just directly behind though. So this could lead to a very spicy battle for P6. MayJP did qualify in 5th position, but he did have a unfortunate incident early on. Oh, local Dominant having a bit of a snap through the chicane. He's going to lose time to Ghosted, but he's definitely losing time to MayJP just directly behind him. We'll see if the number 25 Toyota is going to go ahead and still try to hold on to the position. It is Toyota v Porsche, and so far the Porsches won the last time. MayJP should try to shake for a move going through turn 11, but once again, just not enough real estate to make that happen. As they continue on here, we'll see if MayJP can shake for a move now. He's going to try to go up the inside. This is the corner he got taken out previously, or close to the corner he got taken out previously, but he does get the move done this time. And MayJP is back up into 7th place. A good pass here from the promising young British driver, as we see these drivers making their way on through. He is low on battery though, so the battery on that Porsche is already been depleted. So it is unfortunate. So he'll lose a good amount of power. But local Tallman's actually under pressure from the guy who started at P3. Had a bit of a spin, trying to get up the inside of turn 1. Turn 1 is very wide. They touch. Fenders are touching as they go to make their way through turn number 2. Who's going to get it this time? It's going to be Rogue, but they're still side by side as they fight through the entirety of the first sector side by side. Rogue is ahead. Tallman's still going to go ahead and give it is going to give it the old college try here. Oh, that's a send up the inside. That was a bit of a dicey move there from the local Tallman. And unfortunately, just not able to get anything there. He tried for a send, but unfortunately for him, that send just didn't work. But Rogue does have a penalty though, so Tallman could catch right back up, but he might score himself a penalty because he went very wide there on the exit of turn 10. So Rogue is going to go ahead and slow down here on the second half of the boot. And that is going to allow Tallman to catch up a bit, but he actually, no, I think Tallman might have got hit with a penalty too, so. Once again, this field is starting to spread out a bit yet again. As now pretty much everybody's got about at least a 3 or 4 second gap probably, so. But I still got to talk about this man right here, because ASJ, aka F16, I mean, he's been flying through like a fighting falcon. He has been doing excellent work. He didn't even make it to qualify, but he's up in the P4 already, so that's been a very strong drive here from another driver who has considered joining GPL. So GPL is honestly probably one of the fastest growing Super Formula leagues out there here in Gran Turismo. So if you do want to go ahead and get involved at any point, just go ahead and drop a message in chat if you're not already a part of the Discord, and we'll go ahead and get you in the Discord, and we'll go ahead and just get you acclimated as best as we can. We've had quite a few promising drivers come in and out, so, and hopefully we will get to see you on track, because the thing that I've learned about this community series is that there's some drivers that did not compete in the Super Formula series, right? But they are still putting in fantastic efforts against those who have competed in our Super Formula category. Super Formula is our primary season here at the Grand Prestige League, but during the off season, just to keep drivers busy and just have a little bit of fun, we do have the community series. We had our first one last season, which was the GT500 series, and then now we are in our second community series, which is the LMP Masters series. So typically we have 2 events in the off season, but we have so we have an event. We have the Super Formula 500, which we had the first one last year, and then we had the community series, and then new this year is the GPL 250. So GPL 250 is going to be either the week after or 2 weeks after the season finale here at Suzuka, and it'll be using the F3500 car, which is the kind of like 80s to 90, like late 80s F1 car roughly, or probably like early 90s maybe. I'd have to double check that, but it is a older generation of Formula 1 car. It's newer than the F1500, and it's arguably one of the fastest cars in Gran Turismo, but it's also very tricky to drive. Another league that some of these drivers have competed in, which is the Dragon Racing League, actually had their inaugural season using the F3500, and I watched one of their races, but it was a lot of fun to kind of take a look at. So they've also done Super Formula, and I think they're doing a different type of series. I have to double check, but the GPL 250 is about 250 miles of racing through Monza. We're going to be racing around the historic Monza circuit. So that will happen pretty much right at the end of this series. So be sure to go ahead and check it out. As we see ASJ catching up to Yuki here. So Yuki, aka Pixel. Now, an interesting thing about ASJ is that he's been in the YouTube chat quite a bit during the community series, and I think he's actually eyeing a drive in Super Formula come next season. So maybe we'll see him at the GPL 250, maybe we'll see him in the GPL Season 7. We will just have to go ahead and see. I'd actually be really curious to see what team he ends up with, because Racing Force is coming in. They have a brand new squadron. I've heard some other team names thrown around that might be joining in. I mean, granted, rumors are always going to be rumors until officially confirmed. So there will be announcements made starting probably after the GPL 250 of official teams that are joining into the Grand Prestige League. So we'll just have to see how those pan out. Besides So right now the rumored teams that are joining in, or I should say rumored new teams joining in, because obviously you're going to have your established ones like your Exodus Motorsports, your Toyota, your High Caliber, Porsche is probably going to jump back in as well. So you have your established teams that are jumping in, but there's also been a plethora of new teams that have been rumored to join in. Racing Force is the most prominent one. That's the one that they've pretty much all but confirmed that they'll be joining in next season. We'll see what their driver lineup is for that. And then another one that's been looking at least semi-prominent is 9PP, 9 Pegasus Pantera, sim racing team that has competed in several GT3 leagues. So they'll be their first foray into Super Formula. I know there's been, and then there's two rumors that have been kind of here and there. I know there was the rumor of Karma joining in, but I'm pretty sure that esports organization has long since fizzled out. And then Arctic Ace, a Canadian esports organization, was also potentially eyeing an entry, but once again, the most likely, I mean, the one that is 99% guaranteed is that is a Racing Force. They're definitely, I mean, they're pretty much all but guaranteed to be in. So I mean, you can pretty much bet good money that they're going to be in next season. As we now take a ride on board the Porsche of ASJ, just as he navigates his way through the inner loop. But I mean, it's pretty. There's a lot of teams that are definitely going to make their comeback. High Caliber's coming back, Exo's coming back, Toyota's coming back, probably Porsche as well. But we're always looking for new teams and new drivers. So once again, if you're interested, let us know in the chat below, and we'll go ahead and bring you on in. There is a preseason qualifying that you will have to do, which I believe that is in November, so it'll be there for November. And then the season is aiming to start in December. I think there's no specific date yet, I will say that, but it is looking like it is going to be probably around the time of the Spec 3 update that's coming into Gran Turismo, so because there is a good amount of changes expected to come in. So as far as I know, we are sticking with the Super Formula SF23 machine. The next race at Spa, that is a good question. It's probably going to be during the Super Formula season, I would say. Once again, there hasn't really been any true talks about the calendar. I mean, we've thrown ideas around here and there, but for the most part, there isn't anything confirmed yet on the calendar. So, once again, nothing truly confirmed yet, as Death Ghosted is going to go to make a pit stop pretty early on. We're going to go ahead and take a step aside, and we're going to go ahead and take a W hydration break. So once again, use promo code GPL at w.gg for a 10% discount, and you'll be able to support the league here. And we're going to ride on board with Death Ghosted as we go and take a bit of a hydration break as he tries to get heat into those hard tires, and we'll be back. Alright, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed the little bit of a break and you got to hear some beautiful engine noises from this Porsche as it flies its way on through. Once again, it is still quite a few gaps in between these drivers, so... But, I mean, we're pretty much into a stage of the race where everything is kind of just settling in for now. So we're only about less than 20 minutes into this race so far, almost 19 minutes on the clock. So these drivers have definitely gotten into a groove, so we'll see who can manage to stay in that groove as they continue on through the circuit. But that's the thing about these endurance races, is that you are going to see some pretty significant gaps start forming in. As we see, Illusion must have had a massive mistake, as he is now 12 seconds off the lead of Nuco. And he didn't make a pit stop either, so that was definitely just a massive mistake there from Illusion. So we'll go in and run through our standings at the moment. It is Nuco in the lead of the race. He has won every single race of the season, with the exception of the prior round at Le Mans. Comer took victory there. And then we have Illusion, followed by Yuki, ASJ making his in-season and I think overall GPL debut, followed by Chemiger, May JP, XO Rogue, Death Ghosted, and your local Tallman, with Illusion having the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:28.568. So this is an interesting track because, I mean, like I said earlier, it's pretty much just American Monza. It's very high speed, and sometimes setups used for Watkins Glen are also used at the Nordschleife. At least for iRacing. I severely doubt that's the same case in Gran Turismo, but it is something I've heard. And it's interesting because when you look at the Nürburgring and you look at Watkins Glen, you really don't see a whole lot. Because, I mean, this track is definitely one of the tracks that has a favoritism towards that straight line speed of a car, so you're really going to be in a tricky spot if you don't have good speed. But there's some very tricky corners here, but you can also battle around this track because there's a good few sections of this track that are pretty wide. I mean, turn 1 is pretty wide. You could probably go 3 wide of there, no problem. But yeah, at this stage of the race, there's several gaps that have formed here. It's pretty much kind of the normal when it comes to not multi-class racing, but multi-class racing definitely, but endurance racing in general. You have these timed races, and there's just going to be these gaps that do form in, so it is part of this race. You really just got to kind of keep your cool, and I mean, there's a lot of strategy that also, there's a lot of strategy here as well that can be really played into it. The Cobra guy sounds like a pain. He's been a pain for some of the other drivers. I mean, he is the one that pretty much nuked the potential perfect streak for Nuco at Le Mans. He is a very quick driver, though. I will say that. I mean, when Comer shows, he doesn't... I haven't seen him too often. I've seen him in a handful of races, but most times he shows up and just does the business. That's pretty much his mode of operation. Just shows up, refuses to elaborate, wins, and then just despawns. That is pretty much Comer's existence. But he is still a very quick driver. And actually, I mean, there's a lot of drivers that showed up specifically for Le Mans that are very quick. You have King, who also showed up for Le Mans and put in some pretty promising results. Comer, obviously. Comer is a former race winner in GPL. I had to verify, but I know he's had some really serious runs in prior seasons before I got here, so I had to go ahead and do some checking at some point just to see the true history of Comer. But yeah, pretty much anytime the Portuguese driver jumps in here, he does put in some really good results. So I mean, he is the only one to beat Nuco in this series so far, so he's definitely got some pace there. Nuco, the Season 6 champion of Super Formula in the World Elite Championship. He won it for Toyota. Didn't quite get the Teams Championship. That still went the way of Exodus Motorsports, but it is still a very good achievement there. Multiple-time champion in Nuco, multiple-time race winner in Nuco. I think he's also a former Super Formula 500 winner. I think he won the first iteration of the SF 500. I have to go back and double check that. I mean, might as well. We do have quite a few gaps here. Oh, we do have a car that's off track here. And Ghosted is out of the race, so we are down to 8 cars now on track. I think MayJP was the one who had a bit of an issue earlier, so we'll check in with the number 13 as we go ahead and do some fact checking here. So, oh no, it was Ghosted up ahead that had the issue, so MayJP was fine. But, so, yeah, that's unfortunate there for my Ghosted. He wasn't really having a good weekend in general, so. Just looking through all these old standings, it's. So I'm gonna actually take some time and look through this because I'm actually really curious. So Nuco is a multiple-time champion. So yeah, actually, Comer has not won a championship, but he has won some races. I do know that much. And don't worry, we're all just trying to coax you to come back here, Comer. So that's pretty much it. We're just trying to convince you to come back for a full season. But I mean, that's the thing about GPL. GPL does attract some really fast drivers. Even drivers who show up for a short period of time. I mean, you have drivers who show up occasionally and put in some really good results, and then you have some newcomers as well who do some really impressive things. I mean, I know Rogue is down in 7th. He started 3rd, but the fact he started 3rd in this field is pretty impressive. MayJP has been a fan favorite since he jumped in for the LMP Masters season. I mean, ASJ, it's his first race here, and he started essentially without qualifying because he had hardware issues, and now he's up in the 4th. Still chasing down Yuki. He's been putting in some pretty solid laps here as well, so I mean, this league does attract some very quick drivers here. So, I'm actually really happy to be part of this series and of GPL because there's a lot of fun stuff and a lot of promising drivers. Like, if you guys are not already subscribed with notifications turned on, then I would highly recommend it. You do see some of the best racing in Gran Turismo here as we do a MayJP coming into the pits now, going out and getting some fuel and some new tires, which will likely take him to the rest of the race. So we will once again see how this plays out for the British driver. But yeah, I mean, even some mainstays here. Tell me, Illusion's a multiple-time champion. Nuco's a multiple-time champion. The question is, who's next? Who's going to be the next champion? So we're entering Season 7 towards the end of the year. And I think, honestly, it's probably going to be a tough battle because, I mean, Nuco, he's definitely going to want to take back-to-back championships again. Illusion is going to try to go ahead and get a title to his name again. And then there's other drivers who are going to really look to step up. Yuki, who is now effectively a mainstay in the WEC. He's going to definitely want to put a title challenge up. And this is all just in the WEC. SWT was dominated by this Exodus Motorsports team, or Exodus Rapide as they were called, last season with B23 and CBD. So there's going to be teams wanting to step up there. Kaizen Motorsport, who isn't here throughout this LMP series, but I mean, Kaizen Motorsport, they showed up and got P2 in the Teams Championship on their debut season in SWT, and then both of their drivers got race wins. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of potential up and down this field, and I'm really excited. This potential is harnessed and utilized. And yeah, that's another driver too, Alex. Alex, I mean, he has garnered a reputation for being an aggressive driver, but he did win races in season 7 with that Porsche outfit. So, I mean, it's pretty much fair game, honestly, for the championship next season. I don't think it's gonna be straightforward in either category, really. I do think if Kaiser Motorsports comes back, I think they're gonna be in a really good spot to try to challenge for Exo Rapide's crown in SWT. And I mean, High Caliber has a promising driver with May JP. And I mean, wherever ASJ goes, I mean, ASJ, I think he would qualify. I mean, granted, all these drivers have to go through the qualifying process, but I think ASJ could qualify for WEC on his first outing. So, I mean, I think he's really got potential he can make a good impact with any team, really. I mean, you got Racing Force coming in as a new team, and they're going to be looking for some drivers, surely. So, I think ASJ could be a really strong competitor for this team. And then you also got the other mainstay drivers. I mean, another thing too is that you may see some drivers get promoted to WEC. B23 might get promoted because of his dominant championship run last season. So B23 might get promoted, although I don't know if he'll be able to join in the Exodus top team, which once again, that's for them to decide. I'm just a commentator and unofficial newscaster bringing you guys every bit of information that I know of here at GPL. But I mean, there's a lot of drivers. There's some potential moves that could happen here. And I mean, WC might get a massive shakeup, same with SWT. And let's say B23 does go ahead and make a move. He did a race with Porsche. I think he raced at Spa in the WEC with Porsche. So I mean, that's a potential slot for him if Boito or Alex steps away from the team for the following season. But speaking of Exodus Motorsports, we do have Yuki into the pits in the Undertale XL machine. He is actually, I think, I'm trying to remember because I know the driving in my car meme. I think that is an Undertale thing. I know Undertale and Deltarune are pretty similar. I think they're technically like sequels or something like that. But anyways, we're not here for that. We're here for racing action here, regardless of where the meme may originate from. But we do have Yuki going ahead and driving back out. He did go for a shortish pit stop. Still spent a good amount of time in the pits. Now, the pit lane here is a very tricky one because it is very easy to get a penalty for crossing those track limit lines, as ASJ also comes out of the pits. He is getting blue flagged to allow, actually no, yeah, that's allowing Nuko on by. Nuko hasn't made his pit stop yet, and neither, actually, yeah, he is the, I'm going to do a check real quick because I think everybody, so Tallman and Nuko have yet to make pit stops here. So an Audi and a Toyota have yet to make a pit stop. All the Porsches have made their pit stops. So, and that's another interesting thing about this series in particular, because location is going to be a factor, and that's at Fuji. But then for the final round of the season, it's a one-make event, so everybody will be in the same Toyota that we used during preseason, which is the TSO20, I believe, which is a very, very snappy car. It doesn't play nice with anybody. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of drivers have issues with that Toyota in particular. So, oh, here we go. It's a battle right now brewing between Rogue and Tallman. But Rogue does have a penalty that he will serve, so he needs to really try to break away here, as Nuko does come into the pits now, as Rogue is still trying to pull away. He's pulling away a bit, but once again, that half-second penalty is going to go ahead and neutralize this battle temporarily, but it might actually reignite it, because in this series of corners, I mean, granted, Tallman still hasn't pit yet, so his tires are cooked, and he's got a half-second penalty too, so this battle really is pretty much done as quick as it started. So, Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the final half hour of this race goes, but I think pretty much how the field is now is probably how it's gonna finish. I'd reckon. So, I mean, Nuko's been dominating this championship so far. So, I mean, he's won every single race aside from Le Mans. So, no perfect streak for him, but I mean, it's about as close as perfect as you can get. He is still going ahead and just continuing on his lap. He's actually now the gap has shrunk to about 13 seconds now, but still a very massive gap. So I don't really see any major changes in our top three. We may see some changes if somebody makes a massive mistake, but I think for the most part this field is going to pretty much remain how it is here as we are in the second half of this race here. So we're at 34.5 minutes out of an hour, so 25.5 minutes left to go on the clock as these drivers go ahead and navigate one of the oldest racing circuits in America, and what is undoubtedly one of the most well-known circuits here in America. It is used for NASCAR, it is used for IMSA, it was used in IndyCar for a while, and it was used in Formula 1 in the early days, but unfortunately as this track only has a FIA grade or FIA grade 2, this track won't be on the F1 calendar unless it makes some changes. I think it was just to do with infrastructure changes. I don't think it has anything to really do with the actual track layout. I think the track layout's perfect. But yeah, I'm actually really excited to see those two Formula 1 tracks coming into Gran Turismo. I think they're both going to end up on the GPL calendar at some point. Even if not for Season 7, Season 8 definitely will see probably both of those tracks. Or they may even be split up. We may see one season and another the next. But I did hear that the calendar is going to be a bit split for next season as well. So SWT has, I think, 2 less races, I want to say, compared to WEC. So I think it's a 10 race calendar versus a 12 race calendar, I think so. Which will be interesting because usually the SWT calendar has matched the WEC calendar just on alternating weeks, but it'll be really interesting to kind of just see how the season does play out. Once again, a good amount of storylines going into it. I mean, you have Nuko looking to return to dominance here. He wants to go ahead and take another title to increase his record of the most titles in GPL. And then you have Lucian, who wants to go ahead and take a step up to his rival after coming so close last season. And then you have the potential B23 moving up. You have the new teams to consider. And also the new talent that's being brought in. Like May JP, Rogue is probably going to get brought in as well. And then who knows who the new teams are going to bring in. And who knows what kind of driver signings are going to happen. I think the biggest, I mean, once these dominoes really do start falling, I think it's gonna make for a really interesting season, I would imagine. I mean, then again, it's Super Formula at the Grand Prestige League. It's always gonna be interesting. It's always gonna be fast-paced. And I know we've been talking a lot about the top category, about the WEC, the World Elite Championship, but the Sprint World Tour, I honestly think there's gonna be even a bigger shakeup in the Sprint World Tour, honestly. Because let's say that we do have all 4 new teams joining in, right? Let's say we do have Racing Force, 9 Pegasus, Pantera, Karma, and Arctic Ace all jump in, right? I mean, as awesome as it would be, not all 4 teams are going to qualify for the top category. And once again, last season, Kaizen Motorsport, SWT team, they pretty much took the fight straight to Exo Rapide. So there is a good chance that a new team that joins SWT can really shake up the order. So I think the new teams are. I think Racing Force is definitely going to be the team to watch out for. Because once again, they're always going to be dark horses, right? And so, and we also don't know, because there's some drivers that we may anticipate returning that just won't return. So I mean, once again, we don't know officially anything yet. We will probably know once we go ahead and get closer. Probably, I would venture to say probably in between now till the day of the GPL 250, I think we'll start having our answers on who's going to go where and who's going to go ahead and race for what team. That's pretty much how it's going to be, I think. Once again, we're going to go ahead and report all the news that breaks onto our socials. So be sure to go ahead and follow the Grand Prestige League on Instagram. It's at Grand Prestige League. Go ahead and drop a follow there so you'll be up to date on everything happening. You'll see our race briefings. You'll see any announcements for any events. You'll see pretty much anything that goes on at GPL will be posted on the social media. So once again, just go ahead and follow us at at Grand Prestige League to go ahead and support the league, and you can be up to date on everything that happens here in the league. And once again, if you aren't already subscribed to us here on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell. We hit a fantastic milestone about a month ago now of hitting 100 subscribers, which is a fantastic milestone for this league. It's only been around for about 2, maybe 3 years, I think. So, I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, and 100 isn't the biggest number on the planet, but it is a important milestone. So, and I'm glad to have been here for about a season and a half, I would say. Actually, technically I've been here for 2 seasons. This would be, if we're going to go based on strictly technicalities or strictly on the term season, this is my 3rd season, because I did the first community series, and then I did the season 6 now my 2nd community series. So technically this is my 3rd season, but yeah, I've been with GPL for almost a year now, which is a crazy statistic, but can't wait to see how everything unfolds, because once again, I think season 7 is probably going to be one of the best seasons in Gran Turismo history. I think there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of drama, and the most important thing, a lot of hard racing. So we'll just see how everything goes. All I'm going to say is that there's going to be some driver moves probably that are going to really shock a lot of people, that are going to shake a lot of people up too. And they're probably going to shake up this entire field, I'd imagine. So you never know how things are going to play out. All we can do is speculate. We're going to go ahead and take our 2nd Dubby hydration break here. So once again, if you have some Dubby, go ahead and take a drink of it. Remember to go ahead and stay hydrated. And once again, a massive thank you to W.GG, our sponsor. Use promo code GPL at checkout for a nice 10% discount. And you can also support the league so we can do some really cool stuff. I've heard rumors that potentially team jerseys might be a thing on the way, so we'll see. I've been wanting some GPL merch for a while, and hopefully that's something we'll be able to get in the future. But anyways, we're going to ride on board with the championship leader and former GPL champion, multi-time champion as a matter of fact. We're going to hop on board with Nuko, and we'll be right back. Alright, we are back here, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for the final quarter of this race. It is still Nuko in the lead, followed by Illusion, followed by Yuki, followed by ASJ, followed by MayJP. Keminger, Rogue, your local tall man, and Death Ghosted had a retirement earlier on in the race. It just wasn't his weekend. Hopefully we'll see him back stronger at Fuji, because Fuji is another track that does have a lot of high speed elements to it. Arguably one of the best tracks in Japan. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be a Toyota home track, so although granted Toyota hasn't been the best car in terms of straight line speed, but once again we'll just see how it goes. You're probably going to see, well, it's going to wrap up pretty much everybody's car allocation here, so, or at least most people. Some drivers who did miss a round do have cars available to them. Actually, I know Illusion has cars available to him. Nuko! So Nuko, I think, is going to be in the Porsche, actually, for the final round of the season, or the final round of the car allocation part of the season, before we do our season finale. So let's go talk about the car allocation for a bit, because there's 3 cars available to you: the Porsche 919, the Toyota TSL50, and then the Audi R18. And you can use each car twice, but you cannot use the same car in back-to-back races. So we'll see what cars everybody will have available for them going into the final race of the allocation part of the season at Fuji Speedway. A track with a lot of great straight line speed as we ride on board with Nuko. So let's go and take a look at the remaining cars available in the car allocation. So, in updated, so Nuko is going to be in the Porsche next race. That is the last car he does have available to him. And Illusion will have, well, he's got 2 options. He's in the Audi now, so he'll be able to choose between the Porsche and the Toyota, as those are the last 2 cars he's got available in this race. So he did miss last round, so he did have an option. He was actually available to use any car that he wanted, so he opted for the Audi. And then taking a look at Yuki, he is going to be in an Audi next race. So he has pretty much used all of his Toyotas, and he was unavailable to use the Audi this race, so he's using his final Porsche allocation. And then taking a look at the next driver, ASJ, he can use the Porsche next race, but everything else is pretty much wide open since this is his only race he's done this season. MayJP, he's going to be down to the Audi. It's going to be his last car, so he'll use the Audi for the finale, or the penultimate race of the season, I should say. It'll be the finale in terms of the car allocation. And we'll take a look at Keminger. So he is in the Toyota, or no, he's in the Audi this time around, so he'll be in the Toyota next round. So round out the season on Toyota's home track in a Toyota. Rogue will pretty much have the option between, let's see, he's in the Audi, so he'll have an option between the Toyota and the Porsche. And Tallman, I think Tallman is pretty much going to be, I think he's only going to be unavailable for the Toyota. So yeah, he's going to be unavailable for the Toyota, but everything else is going to be fair game for him. And thinking about Ghosted is, I think he's only gonna have the Toyota left as his only option. So there we go. That is the allocation for the drivers in this race. So we'll see a pretty good mix of cars. I remember round 1, we didn't see any Porsches in round 1. It was strictly Toyota versus Audi. So I think this allocation has definitely spiced things up a bit. Because, I mean, there's some cars that are just generally stronger than others in this format. I mean, the Audi is considered the strongest car in this format, and the Toyota is generally considered the weakest, but we have seen that you can win races in pretty much any of these machines, so I mean, it did balance things out, because I think you'd pretty much predominantly see the Audi on most tracks. Maybe not Suzuka, although granted that everybody's going to be in Toyota and Suzuka, but yeah, so I mean, I think this allocation thing did really mix things up a bit. I've already heard some rumors about the next Community Series. Won't spoil anything yet, but, and also granted, it's going to be next year, so it'll probably be the tail end of 2026 whenever we get to the next set. And who knows, we may be on Gran Turismo 8 by that point. I don't think so, but maybe. We might be on Gran Turismo 8 at that stage, so we will see. We hear the fans cheering on our drivers as they continue on for the final 8.5 minutes here of this race at Watkins Glen. And we do see Tall Man just going to get right to get through in that Toyota. But, so, I will want your guys' opinion on something concerning the new update coming to Gran Turismo in December. So, in December, right, when we have the Spec 3 update, they said there was 8 cars coming in, and we were shown 4 of them. Another R34, a early 2000s to late 90s Formula 1 car, which I think is called the Formula Gran Turismo. And then we had the Ferrari 296 GT3. But there's supposed to be 4 more cars coming into the update, so what is your wish list on these cars that you would like to see coming into Gran Turismo with the Spec 3 update? Let us know in the chat down below. I would personally say, and I mentioned this earlier, I would like to see kind of because Gran Turismo has 3 fictional F1 cars right now, if you don't count the Red Bulls. So they have 3 fictional F1 cars at the moment. You have the F1500, the F3500, and the Formula Gran Turismo. Do you think we will see I don't know what you'd even really call it, like a Formula Hybrid or something maybe? I know that there's an Assetto Corsa mod that goes by that name, but do you think we'll see the current generation of Formula 1 cars come in as an update, like a Gran Turismo spec, and they could probably treat it like the F3500 where you could change those body parts out? Who knows? Let us know what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section down below. Personally, I do like the fact that they are bringing the 296 GT3 in, because, I mean, the Ferrari 458 has been outdated for 10 years. So, I mean, it's almost to the point where this game is probably, I mean, that 296 GT3 came out, I think, even before the PS4 came out. So, I mean, I know it's an ancient car by GT3 standards, but just want to know what your guys' thoughts are as we're in the final 6 minutes left of the race here. So, once again, our order really has not changed a lot here. So, I think there's quite a big gap to everybody, so I think this race is probably going to finish where it's at right now, so yeah, I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on the update. I know people wanted more than just 2 tracks, but I mean, and trust me, I'm in that same boat, but I will take 2 new tracks over no new tracks, and also, what do you guys think we should do for the next community series? Go ahead. We have ideas, but we would love to hear your ideas. So just go ahead and leave them in the chat down below, and we'll go ahead and take a look at them. So we're on lap 36 right now with 5 minutes to go. So drivers will get about another 3-ish laps roughly, maybe About 3 laps, yeah, give or take. So, I mean, it'll be final lap for everybody once Nuko crosses that checkered flag at the end of this 4.5 minute stretch. But so it's probably gonna be about another 3 laps, I would say, probably at this stage, considering the times. So about, yeah, another 3 laps, roughly. So now I will just say that, I mean, Nuko has just been dominant here in this LMP1 series. I mean, the only driver that's really been truly able to give him a run for his money is Comer, and that was in Le Mans. Nuko has not really been under pressure from anybody here, so whatever he's done to that LMP1, or whatever tricks he has learned with the LMP1s, he has definitely figured out the cheat code, and honestly, he's been dominant here this season. But let's go ahead and take a look at some other standings really quickly here. So, taking a look now. So actually, I think, I'll have to fact check this across the entirety of the seasons, but I know here in the LMP Master Series, this will be Yuki's first podium of the season. He's been in all 4 races, or all 5 races this season, and he has not amassed a podium yet. But he will once he goes ahead and crosses the line, because he's got a 12-second gap to ASJ and about a 1-minute gap to Illusion. So I mean, it is going to be a very well-earned podium, because he did have to fight quite a bit. But here's the thing I've also learned about this LMP series. We hear Spinny is back. You haven't really missed a lot. We did do some yapping about the Spec 3 update coming in December for Gran Turismo. But that's pretty much it. Everything has still pretty much remained the same. There's been some pit stops happening here or there, but pretty much for the most part, this field has stayed the same like it did. I think pretty much right after that, like 45-minute mark, and after everybody made their pit stops. I mean, I feel like this order was pretty much just gonna stay locked in. But so we are down to the final 2 minutes, so you'll get about another lap or 2, just depending on how the timer falls. But yeah, I mean, once again, it has been Nuko dominance once again this season. And in this race here as well, a return to form for the Frenchman. Now this also just does beg the question. I know these cars aren't the Super Formula cars, and everybody's going to have differing levels of familiarity, as Nuko has almost 1,000 miles on his car. And then you have Illusion, who's got 3,000 miles on his car. So these cars have definitely got some good mileage on them, but this really has got to beg the question of, is Nuko going to dominate Season 7? Is Nuko going to be on his 2023 Max Verstappen arc, where he wins a majority of the races next season? I mean, if you look at the form purely based on LMP2 or LMP1 here, then you would honestly think that, yeah, he is probably going to enter his 2023 Verstappen arc and just start dominating everything. But we also got to remember that these cars and the Super Formula cars, while they do have their similarities, they are different machines. Different rules, different racing, and there's different quirks. And I think a big reason of Nuko, even though he does go very wide there on the exit of turn 10, but I think Nuko, the main reason I think Nuko has done so well is that he has kind of mastered the quirk of these LMP1 cars. He's mastered the battery management, which usually in these kind of cars you have like settings that you can use in terms of battery management. You can have like an overtake setting, a medium setting, a hot lap setting, or kind of a null setting, and there may be even some other settings I'm not familiar with. But in Gran Turismo, it's pretty much always a constant for the battery, and I know the Audi is really strong when it comes to that battery management, but I think, I mean, you can only use the Audi twice, and this is Nuko's second time using the Audi, but he's going to come across the line now. In a dominant fashion once again, Nuko wins the 1 hour of the Glen. dominating fashion here, as we do see our last few drivers come across the line now. It is Lusion coming home in P2 once again. He'll return to the podium after coming back after a very unfortunate fever that forced him to miss out last race. And look at this, ASJ, arguably driver of the day. He started in 9th, he missed qualifying, and he climbed up to 4th. What a race from him, and that might put some of the Super Formula teams on notice. JP, a mighty fine recovery drive here from the British driver. He started in 5th, got taken out in the opening stages, and clawed back to finish in P5. The British driver will come home in P5. Rogue having a very unfortunate day. Started in the top 3, ended up in 7th. He'll come across the line. And then we have Kemajur now going ahead and making his way across the line now. He'll get a P6, a solid result for the whole live racing driver. And then your local tall man. He may be lost on the road, but he did finish this race. He didn't have the tech issues, so that'll be already a step up for the British driver. And actually it didn't come in last because we had the unfortunate retirement of Death Ghosted, so. And there it is, your winner is Nuko. Nuko takes victory here, so we're gonna go ahead and just round out our race results here and send the stream off until the sunset. It is Nuko into P1 yet again, followed by Illusion. The only other car on the lead lap, Yuki getting his first podium of the season. In P3, ASG getting a very strong drive himself, coming from last all the way up into P4, followed by MayJP, Kemajur, XL Rogue, your local tall man, and then Death Ghosted, who unfortunately retired from the race after a very tough weekend. Well, that is going to go ahead and wrap things up here at the Grand Prestige League. We have just witnessed 1 hour of the Glen here in round 5 out of 7 of the championship. Next time out, we will be at Fuji Speedway, and it'll be the last race where we do have the car allocation, and then our season finale in Suzuka is going to be a one-make race in the 2012 Toyota LMP 1 machine. So that's going to wrap up our season, but before we get there, we have 2 more rounds to go, and then we're going to go in and end off our second community series here, the LMP Masters round 5 has come to a close. Once again, a massive shout out to everybody who has been a part of the YouTube chat, going ahead and chatting it up, and also dealing with our tech issues that we had at the start of the stream. But thank you guys so much for tuning on in. A massive shout out to W once again. Go ahead and use promo code GPL at w.gg for a nice 10% discount, and that way you'll also be able to support the league. And once again, just thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and I've been your host and commentator for today's race here at the Grand Prestige League. And we will see you guys 2 weeks from now in Fuji. Have a good night.